Yo, what's good, everybody? Bren here. Hope everybody's having an amazing Sunday, December 14th. Meant to get started earlier. Man, the last few days have been crazy. Feeling kind of under the weather the last few days. And then my Wi Fi was fucked the other day when I was trying to stream on Friday. But we're here. Hope everybody's having an amazing Sunday. Again, we usually do these streams twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays at 11 a.m. PST, which we will be sticking to. Again, I couldn't do anything about the Wi-Fi a couple days ago, but hope everybody's having an amazing fucking weekend. Again, the last few days have been incredibly slow, but we're going to go over why that is actually historically bullish and it's a sign that we usually see end these corrections is both apathy, excuse me, boredom like this, and slow choppy price action towards these lows. I'm going to tell you why price action looks like it's probably finally going to align with the amazing bullish fundamentals that we've been talking about the last few weeks on the streams, talking about the macro stuff with moving away from QT. We got another rate cut last week. The biggest thing to focus on is we are getting closer to 0% rate cuts. 0% rates, back to that zero, close to zero that we had several years ago without anything breaking. What that's going to allow is eventually QE, which is quantitative easing, which is money printing, to start resuming eventually. We have obviously regulatory stuff. The Clarity Act just starting to come out. We have the risk assets, the stock market doing very strong. Next near Christmas, where sometimes the market's pretty weak. All of these very, very bullish things outside of price action. I think we're going to go over some chart setups right here where I think the price action's finally going to align over the next few weeks and very likely see a local bottom here, I think, in the next few weeks. We'll go over all of that. But before we get started, if you guys could please like, comment, retweet, share. I appreciate you all for spending your Sunday here with me for a bit. You could be doing anything else, so I appreciate you for being here. Before I get started, again, we're going to be talking about the chart setups. Like I said, we're talking about Bitminer. They just bought, again, another $70 million, right, of ETH. Obviously, MicroStrategy bought hundreds of millions the other day of Bitcoin. We're going to talk about whether they're, these two guys, Tom Lee and Michael Saylor, are going to go down as geniuses or complete busts. These companies, obviously, SEC says all markets will be on chain soon. Talk about stuff like that. A lot of people right now, the biggest thing is talking about pivoting to prediction markets. We'll be talking about whether I think that's a good idea, and then really some mid cap setups in the lower, 5 to 10 market cap range that I've been looking at that potentially could outperform the market. But again, if you guys could like, comment, retweet, share before we get started, always appreciated. And then let me go and look at the chat. Again, leave your chart requests, comments, questions. I'll definitely be looking at the chat today. What's up, Rojam? What is up, Meta Yugi? And again, we're going to do a $100 USDC giveaway too towards the end of the stream for people who randomly in the comments of this tweet right here, which is the stream tweet. So I'll do that towards the end. But let me look at the chat real quick before we get started. What's up, Toby? What is up, Saad? AVLD, Toby, Henry. Nice to see everybody. MKT, my boy, how you doing? Soul Reaper, Crypto Prince. But yeah, let me know before we get started. Always want to know two things. Go ahead and let me know where you're tuning in from, what country or what region, whatever. And then two, whether it's your first time in the stream. If it's first time, say first time. If it's your second, third, whatever, let me know. I'm seeing a lot of new names here, but also a lot of homies in here too. Some regulars joined your stream and my bag started to pump. Let's go. Hugo Boss, my Fwog brother, what's up? Let's go fucking go. What up from New York? Let's fucking go, Hugo. How's the weather out there right now, bro? Right now in Southern California, I'm looking out the window right now. It is fucking sunny and like 62, 63. Pretty blessed. I know a lot of places. My homie Can't Stop Me Now, who helps me with the stream. It's a couple inches of snow where he's at. So I know a lot of you guys are probably dealing with snow. A lot of you guys are probably not even in winter. You're probably in fucking summer or whatever. Spain. A better question is probably, what season you guys are in. But enough fucking yapping. We're pretty caught up on the chat. So let's go ahead and get started with Bitcoin and look at the charts. Again, the reason I focus so much on Bitcoin, other than me just being a chart guy, and I like looking at charts, and it is because Bitcoin, especially in these periods, drives the health of the entire market, literally down to the trenches. And I know that sounds crazy. A lot of people during these times will try to blame Allign, Pump Fund, launch pads, Bonk, creator fees, all these different things for why trenches aren't doing well and why coins aren't running to 100 million. But I'm gonna tell you, there's one reason why, is because Bitcoin is correcting and the majors are correcting, and you only have to look at charts. Again, looking at charts separates yourself from most people who literally are just going. But most people look at charts. Everybody looks at charts, right? But they're looking at this. They're on the fucking 1 hour looking at this, right? Like, this isn't going to tell you anything. You got to zoom out to the higher time frames, and especially when you're looking at these corrections right here to really see these repeatable patterns. And fuck, what was I getting at with what I was gonna say here? Holy fuck, totally forgot. Bitcoin drives the health and the strength of everything, and you only have to look at the charts, right? What do we see starting in 2024? It's probably the most obvious example. Bitcoin topped out in March 2024 at 72K. I don't know if you guys were around during this time, but I remember, obviously wasn't as brutal as it was now, but Bitcoin came down to 72K, came down further and formed this correction. Meme coins died out. I don't know if you guys remember. Pump Fund, I think, was just kind of around for 6 or, I don't know, something months at this time, but Pump Fund volume died. We saw meme coins like SPX, Giga, MOG all come down 50 to 90%. Bitcoin bottomed out in September 2024. And what did we see after when it started ripping? We saw meme coins, MOG, SPX, Giga. We saw the AI bubble start to form. We saw Pump Fund volumes hit all-time highs. And then what did we see here in Christmas of 2024? We saw Trump coin come out, Melania, all that stuff. Bitcoin topped out. And what happened? The Pump Fund volume died out. And again, Pump Fund volume, everything in crypto is driven by what Bitcoin is doing. And that's why I focus so much on it. And why I think everybody should be at least considering, even if you don't have a big Bitcoin position. But anyway, what we're looking at here, obviously, higher time frames. There's two questions at play, right? There's two camps right now. When you're looking at Bitcoin, you either think this is going to be another temporary correction, like I showed you a second ago, like we saw in summer, we saw in April, like we saw in 2024, or most people, obviously, if you look at the timeline, everybody knows this, most people who think we're in a bear market, right? So that's what the two camps are at right now, battling back. Are we in a bear market? Are we in a temporary correction that's going to bounce back to all-time highs? What I'm going to tell you is, I think, due to all these other fundamental reasons I named a second ago, I think what's most likely to happen still is the former, that this is just another 3 to 6 months, 7th month, whatever correction it ends up being, before we bounce back to all-time highs from here. Now, I'm going to tell you what some indicators that we can look at to confirm or invalidate these two scenarios. But I have a bias, again, because of everything else going on, because of how risk assets in the stock market are going, macro, that this next bounce that I think we're going to get here, which we'll go over in a second, I think is likely to lead us back to all-time highs. Despite what everybody else thinks, I get it. Bitcoin's definitely come down hard. The trenches are actually fucking annihilated. I get why everybody's depressed. But at the same time, I think everything outside of crypto fundamentals, which again eventually leads to bull markets and mania, is extremely bullish. So if we zoom into the lower time frames, I think there's signs on the higher, mid, and now even the lower time frames that are pointing to a very likely bottom here coming for Bitcoin. We look at ETH; it's actually even more obvious, and that is the consolidation that ETH and Bitcoin are forming. And I'm going to say this until I'm fucking blue in the face. Like, I had this video the other week, actually did pretty well, 25K views, where I talk literally just about this. But this was on November 28th, before this consolidation formed, literally like Bitcoin had just made a bottom here at 81K. And in this video, I said the number one thing that we need to look for before we see this bottom is multiple weeks of consolidation. If we get multiple weeks, 2 weeks or longer of consolidation above 81K, that's very likely going to, it increases the chances we're looking at a bottom. Because again, I'm gonna real quickly go through this. Look at these past charts yourself. Look at what, sorry, I'm not sharing my screen. What ended every one of these corrections that we've seen since 2024? Or, I'm sorry, since 2022. This one in April, this one in August. It's consolidation. Bitcoin held a certain low, this time 74K, for multiple weeks, 8 weeks this time, or 3 weeks this time, 8 weeks this time, uh, and used this low as a double bottom or a base to move back to all-time highs. So what do we see here for Bitcoin now? The last few weeks, it's been holding above a low for fucking, what is this, 23, 24 days now. So again, this isn't guaranteed. Obviously, Bitcoin could say, fuck this, what I'm showing here, and it could just go boom and just shoot right straight through there and just annihilate this setup. But usually when a low is held for multiple weeks, you're at least going to get some type of bounce. And what's really the last kind of real icing on the cake here is how slow Bitcoin is kind of chopping down towards this low. It's a classic setup we see where we get a low and then the chopping slowly back down towards that low. Again, it's more obvious on ETH, right? We got to move up off this low, really two hits to that low, and now we're slowly chopping back down. It's kind of hard to see because I have the thing, but ETH is slowly chopping back down. That very likely indicates that we're looking at a second leg down of a double bottom, a higher low. Maybe it sweeps the low like we saw in April. But I think price action, guys, on the higher, mid, and now the lower time frames is pointing to very likely a bottom coming. And I think what we're likely to see here, guys, is I'm going to draw it out. I'm going to hide this actually so that I can bring it back later. But what I think is likely to happen, and it could go a few different ways, but I think what we're going to see over the next few weeks going into Christmas is normally Christmas is a slow time. A lot of the Wall Street people are off. You know, there's not a lot of volume, a lot of attention in the markets. I think we're going to continue to see a slow chop down. I think it's very likely is Bitcoin going to see at least one more down, maybe a few more, and bottom out either, again, with a sweep to the low or potentially some type of higher low, double bottom, some type of confirmation and a shift back up. I think is very likely going to lead to a bottom for Fuck. I'm terrible at using this. Very likely going to lead to some type of bottom and this multiple weeks of consolidation leading to a base that leads Bitcoin back above 100K. I'm on ETH right now, but Bitcoin back above 100K. Now, really, like, I don't want to spend too much time on Bitcoin in the charts, even though, again, it leads everything. And the final confirmation, the biggest confirmation between determining whether we're in a bear market or a bear market or just a bounce back to all-time highs, like a temporary correction, is how Bitcoin behaves as it approaches this 200 moving average. Now, if you want to follow this with me and you want to track this, I suggest if you want to, bring it up on your own trading view charts, you type in moving average, the simple moving average, and you can change it to the 200. What the 200 moving average has done is it essentially has been an indicator that has differentiated between a bear market and a correction. So essentially, every correction we've seen since 2022, Bitcoin has done a death cross where the blue moving average, which is a 50, you can put that up there as well if you'd like, but the 50 and the 200 cross. The blue crosses the red. And then when price trades back above the red, price is led back to all-time highs every time for Bitcoin. Same thing here, as you can see, death cross, Bitcoin moved back above the 200, all-time highs. But on the contrary, what happened in the last bear market? Sorry, this chart looks all fucked up. This isn't even my normal Bitcoin chart. Let me go to my normal one. Where is it? Is it Coinbase? Yeah, there it is. What do we see in the last bear market? Bitcoin came down kind of like it did now. You see it came way far under that 200, traded and bounced back towards that 200, but failed to break. You guys see that right here? How's the 200 moving average? Failed to break it, and then it went down 75%. So I don't think, first of all, I don't think Bitcoin, even if it does enter a quote unquote bear market, a longer period of downside, I don't think we're seeing 75% anytime soon, unless we enter like a Great Depression or some shit. Um, so even if Bitcoin bounces here but fails to trade above the 200 moving average, I think worst case scenario is a matter of a few more months. I keep leaving these fucking dots, damn it. Uh, a matter of a few more months. Like, so worst case scenario, I think we're gonna get that bounce, like I said, up here. Say it fails to break that 200 moving average. Maybe we come down one more time and bottom out in March or April. All that would mean is we were just in this boring ass period a little bit longer, but I still think that would have the same outcome of sometime in 2024. In this case, maybe Q2, Q3, if we got this scenario to all-time highs. Again, due to all this bullish fundamentals, I think crypto and meme coins and stuff especially are in the perfect scenario, just like waiting to see mass adoption because the world is just primed for it. We're seeing speculation, adoption. Everybody's collecting shit. Everybody wants to do sports betting or prediction markets. Also, the government and the regulators are building framework so that companies can build in crypto without being scared. You're seeing, obviously the risk assets, the S&P 500, almost it. To be honest here, this is another thing. This is some consolidation. It might honestly come down here, but essentially the last few months it's been very strong, despite what crypto's doing. I think all of these things, once price and we get this bottom here, is gonna lead to a bounce again above 100K. But if we really want to be technical here and you really want to get a final confirmation, we see what Bitcoin does at this 200 moving average. If it trades back above it, maybe goes to 102, 103K, but tops out and comes down, we know, okay, maybe we are going into a longer bear market. We just got to prepare for several more months of accumulating and fucking waiting, essentially. But best case scenario, which again, I still think is 70, 80% likelihood, if I had to put a percentage on it, is that we're going to get some type of bottom here and above 81K and a move back to all-time highs. So let me know. What do you guys think about that? Oz brother, lifetime listener. That's crazy. Are you 18 months old? That's all I've been. I'm doing it. Woke up to 4 inches of snow. Holy fuck. That's crazy, bro. But yeah, we went over Bitcoin. If you guys are just hopping in, we were just going over Bitcoin and really how I think we're likely to see a bounce here as we approach 81K. And obviously to invalidate that, if we were to slice right through 81K, Bitcoin just picked up accelerating to the downside and broke through 81K, then obviously we would probably move lower. But if you, again, go and look at these charts yourself, guys, almost every single time that Bitcoin is consolidated for more than 3 weeks, it's acted as a reversal to the upside, especially after a big correction. Like here, every time. Here, even this another one. Here, there's very few times that, especially on the downside, that Bitcoin consolidates for more than a couple weeks and then breaks through that low. So yeah, I think all signs are pointing to this very likely being a bottom coming up, especially if we look at ETH and how slow and choppy and corrective it is approaching this low. So really what I've been doing, guys, is this is actually pretty unlike me. Usually I'm just a bull and I find it way more profitable to just wait for these like great long setups. Like I absolutely fucking printed on this ETH setup. I don't know if you guys, I need to erase some of these dots so I don't look like an absolute kook. I don't know if you remember a few months ago, last year, back when ETH was like around down here, everybody was clowning it. I put out several posts, tweets about ETH and how I thought, it's so obvious the Wall Street and everything is using Ethereum to Wall Street and everybody's gonna put Ethereum on chain. This is right before the DATs came, and I was accumulating a long position from here, 1800 back down to 1400 for ETH. I think I had an average entry of about 16 something, and absolutely fucking rode and printed on that long. Added a little bit on this correction, and then was out about 75% of my position. Up here at about 37, and then got stopped out in profit for the rest on the way down. Um, and as you guys saw, we were talking about on the stream, I did take a short right here, but actually now the last few days from this obvious setup here on ETH after we're consolidating, same on Bitcoin, I did place a short position with an average of about 32.90. And again, what I think is going to happen, guys, here is we're going to continue to slowly chop down. Maybe it picks up and it's quicker, but I think we're going to slowly chop down into the below 3,000. At that point, I will be mostly out of my short position, and if the stars align and we're getting the proper confirmations, again showing a clear rejection of that low, I will be positioning myself for a hopefully a nice long setup, like a nice sustainable, or like a big nice long setup to the upside here. Again, back above 100k, very likely could be back to all-time highs. Like I said, these are the type of positions where yes, they only come back down, they only come after these big corrections, which happen once or twice a year. But if you're able to catch them, they're really easy to scale into. You're able to be patient, and that's why I choose to. A lot of times there'll be weeks or a couple times, like I remember down here like a couple months on this last correction for ETH earlier this year, where I didn't take a leverage position for 2 or 3 months. But when the setups, especially these higher time frame setups, present themselves, the risk to reward, they're just extremely lucrative if you're able to be patient. So that's kind of how I play the perps, is trying to position myself for these bigger, higher time frames, setups. But yeah, I'm short ETH right now. I will be taking, if and when we get another dip here, I will be taking a good chunk of my position off. But it has been consolidating for 2 days here, so I wouldn't be surprised if we get a bounce like we did here. S&P 500, like I said, looks pretty nice, but we have seen 12 days of consolidation here. So what I say, guys, when we get some type of when we get this type of consolidation, and again, we drew this down here. That was actually a nice setup. But 12 days of consolidation here, I would not be surprised to see the S&P 500 actually come back down a little bit. How far? I don't know. I could see a setup like this happening or something. But usually couple weeks of consolidation and you're heading back down towards this low, usually you're going to see some type of break of that. So maybe for the next few weeks heading into Christmas, we get a slow chop down. But overall, S&P 500, I don't see any signs of a major top here or anything. Still looks healthy. Another chart I really want to talk about, guys, and I don't know if you guys remember, we were talking about DXY on the streams here for the last few months, that how I was expecting DXY. There was a nice clip I put out a few days ago. Let's actually watch it. Where to go? I put out a lot of clips lately. Where is it? DXY. I'll find it. Oh, here it is. Again, historically, when the dollar has moved down, that's when we see risk assets absolutely explode. Stock index, crypto, all that. As you guys can see here in this run from March 20, this is when crypto just went crazy. When Bitcoin went from 7,000 all the way to 60,000. What did we see DXY do? Came down almost 10 points. And then once the Bitcoin bear market started, we saw DXY just go absolutely crazy. So yeah, I was just talking about how historically, a move down on the dollar, like the last big move down we saw on the dollar, other than the last big move we saw on the dollar to the downside really was COVID, other than this one here, and dropped 10 points, and that's when we got obviously a huge bull market. That's typically what we see when the dollar is setting up for a move to the downside. Usually stocks, risk assets, crypto do the inverse, right, on the higher time frames. I think what we're seeing here on every time frame, even from as much of a double top here, consolidation for a bit, right into this, people might say resistance or a multi-month high. I think once we trade back below 96, it will start more aggressively forming an impulse to the downside, in which we'll see the dollar move back below, probably into the low 90s. Maybe, coming with some type of money printing. I don't know. Either way, right here, DXY alone, you can't predict markets, but it is just another sign and another positive fundamental reason outside of Bitcoin price action that points to a bull market coming for crypto in the next year or in 2026. I mean, if you can't tell, I think overall short time frames, I think we get a bounce. Mid time frames is kind of that mystery, right? Are we going to get Bitcoin trading back above that 200 moving average? Or is it going to roll over and give us that quote unquote bear market? Long term, as you can tell, if you've read any of my tweets for longer than a day or two, like I could not be more fucking bullish on just the long term in crypto. And it's not just because it's like, oh, that's, I'm playing this character of being like a fucking bull all the time. It's because I truly like, if you look outside of price action and you get your head out of like crypto Twitter for a second and you really look at these fundamental reasons, like inside, like the SEC literally said, um, this the other day, right? This is just an example of what I'm talking about. Yeah, I got you. Oh fuck, that's the one that I said. Oh, he said this on December 5th, right?
Then smart contract. Tokenization is the idea of using then smart contracts or tokens on chain to be able to that represent, say, an underlying security, and so then that tokenized security is a security and would be subject to SEC rules by law. But the idea is that if it's on
pretty much he says all
blockchain.
He says all markets will be on chain within 2 years, right? So, and of course not all that money is going to go into fucking SPX 6900 and stuff, at least not right away. But I think what the vision of this and why I'm so fucking bullish and why it's so obvious is I think what this is going to lead to, and I think the vision is that they're going to have digital wallets in the hands of like everybody, right? I think whether that's on PayPal or Venmo or Cash App or Apple Pay has a wallet, or people have like Phantom Wallet, people are going to be able to hold stocks, crypto, prediction market stuff, digital collectibles, NFTs, all in the same wallet. And I think that kind of makes the public wallet kind of like Gary Vee says, like the next social media potentially, where it's like this big social phenomenon where everybody has this public wallet they're using to hold their stocks, their digital collectibles, to make transactions on websites. And I think that's what it leads to. And it might not be might not be like, okay, stocks are on the blockchain and that leads to meme coins pumping right away. But I think overall this grows the bigger piece of the pie. And my point in saying this, if you're paying attention to this shit outside of price action, it's so fucking obvious that the world is trending towards all of these different things that crypto is involved in, right? From the speculation and gambling becoming huge. Everybody wants to become a fucking trader or like make $1 million off of whether it be sports betting, gambling, whatever. All these different trends crypto's heading towards. It's just a matter of time, long term, before it just becomes really like as big as like the internet stocks were, but even bigger because it just, it's, I don't know. Crypto with AI just works so perfectly together. It's obvious what's going to happen long term. Let me look at the chart real quick before we move on. Sod, what's good? If you guys could again like, comment, retweet, share. Sod says I want 80 to 82K to DCA into. Interesting. Yeah, I've been DCAing into. We'll go over some stuff like the full kind of stuff, but I've been Pengu, SPX, I've really been highly kind of concentrating in 5-6 coins that I just have a lot of conviction in. The MOGS, SPX, ticker Bitcoins, well that too, but USDUC, even though it's smaller cap. Yeah, I'm not doing a screen, but Pump Fun, Pump, Aster, some of the revenue coins. I think there's just the category leaders are just like easy 5 to 10x's right now. I think when everything comes back. Love this analysis. Appreciate you. Did he do an unstable THR yet? No, not yet, brother. I'll do that in just a second. GM, what is up, Doogie Woozer? Yeah, watched a documentary of blockchain CEO on tokenizing real world assets. But yeah, let me know if you guys are just popping in. If you guys could like, comment, retweet, share, like I said, but also let me know one if this is your first time, second time, third time in the stream, and then also what season is it where you're at right now? German says this is just a start. Solana will flip ETH 2030. That's an interesting take. Will Solana flip ETH? I think it's possible, man. I mean, what I've come to find, just in crypto, is just like the craziest, like Elon Musk says, the most entertaining, you know, outcome is usually the most likely or whatever. But really, just like you can never, just so much crazy shit's happening. You never count anything out, right? But, um, but I think it's obvious that ETH is going to catch a massive bid because I think, like he said, all assets are going to. You just break it down to first principles in like real simple terms that anybody can understand. Really, the SEC chairman says all markets will be on chain. You ask yourself, you ask yourself, what what chain are these Wall Street types looking at mostly? And it's by far right now Ethereum. These guys really value the fact that Ethereum has never had downtime. If you're going to put billions and trillions of dollars on chain, you want to make sure you have access to that billions of dollars and trillions of dollars at all times, right? So in that case, you know that there's very likely a massive inflow of at least stable coins, real world assets, equities going to come on chain. What do they need to do to put those on chain? They need to transact on Ethereum. What do they need to do? They need to buy Ethereum essentially to do all that. So I think Ethereum's going to catch a massive bid. So if I had to guess, I think Ethereum is going to pull ahead of Solana if I had to guess on this next run. And then if we look at ETH Bitcoin as well, I think ETH is going to outperform Bitcoin. And I know it's a fucking hot take, but I think ETH. Oh fuck! I'm not sharing my screen. I think ETH flips Bitcoin in the next 5 years. Could be a lot sooner. Again, because I think, and this is tough because tomorrow or the next day, like China or Russia or one of these crazy countries could say they're going to buy Bitcoin, and Bitcoin pulls away for the next 6 months to a year. But I think overall, like we said, all assets are going to be on chain. What does that mean? Billions and billions, trillions of dollars of assets are going to be put on Ethereum. What does that mean? They're going to need Ethereum to transact on it. More transactions on Ethereum burns Ethereum, makes it deflationary, yada yada. I think what we're looking at on even the lower time frame charts, which we've been talking a lot about the setup, I think we're finding a bottom here on ETH Bitcoin. It's going to push higher in the short term, and I think it makes a run at not only the 2021 highs here, but even the 2017 all-time highs for ETH Bitcoin, which is about 4x from here. And at that point, I think ETH would be about almost parity to Bitcoin, maybe a little bit lower. But yeah, I think my bet next 5 years, ETH I think is going to flip Bitcoin in market cap. But I have a bag of both, so I think we'll be fine either way. But yeah, does Solana flip ETH? I have no fucking clue, dude. I think it's possible. I think ETH is going to do incredibly well, and Solana would have to also do incredibly well to do that. I think 2026 will be the year for us. I think so too, bro. I think 2026, whether it's in Q1, Q2, Q3, whatever it may be, I think is going to be strong. I think what I saw FFE or someone say the other day, like 2025 we learned, and 2026 we're going to print. And if we're going to see crypto and meme coins and all these things become a sustainable asset class, should just expect there's going to be down years and down months. So please post what you are accumulating. Yeah. So I'll just go ahead and list off again, really focusing on. I've been accumulating some ETH Sol, some of the top three, some AVAX, really been bullish on AVAX, some Doge, because I think Doge is going to have a run. But really, where I've been heavily focusing on is that barbell, or those two areas of the movement coins, movement memes, some of them might call them, which is the Giga SPX, MOG, ticker Bitcoin, USDUC, a few of these other ones. Because as we've seen, the things that bounce back the hardest and the ones that survive are the ones that have the strongest communities and cults or whatever behind them. those are the ones that bounce back the hardest and survive and sustainably run back to the upside. So the movement coins, I think, are going to really hit escape velocity over the next few years. And I think we see SPX back above it. I think we see SPX at like 10 billion, 5 to 10 billion, probably higher. Again, it's going to take a mania. It's going to take like normies coming back, which is a whole other subject we can talk about in a second. But yeah, please post what you're accumulating in the Telegram. I can post it in the Telegram after for sure. It's supposed to be Harmattan here in Nigeria, bro. It's extreme heat. Oh fuck. Please do BNB. Yeah, let's look at BNB. I think Binance is going to continue to do well, right? Like they're just such a dominating force. And that's probably why the coins held up pretty decently. I guess it's down like 40%. But what I really like about this Binance setup is the lack of consolidation. It literally consolidated for like a week before coming down. The biggest sign of a long-term bear market too is consolidation, right? You saw here, what did Bitcoin do in May in 2021? It consolidated below 700 for about 7 months. As you can see, consolidated below, came back and retested it, failed to break, and then went down about 75%. But what do we see in this correction? No consolidation. What do we see in this correction? Very, very little consolidation. Very little consolidation. So that, and then this, honestly, this is probably the cleanest setup in the top 10 and really increases my bullish bias on the midterm, like the short term, being a move up for Bitcoin. I think, or move up for everything. I think we're going to see this for BNB. Again, probably a chop towards this low, either a sweep, higher low, or a double bottom, and a move up to either end the year or to start the next one. And then again, same kind of thing if we go to the daily chart. What's crazy for BNB is that BNB has done so incredibly well this year that it's actually trading still above the 200 moving average. It never has gone below the 200 moving average. So technically, every sign on BNB is still bullish on the higher time frames. I think BNB is going to bounce hard in the next few weeks. YR Trades, what's good, brother? Def, not my first time. Yeah, I know. I see you in here a lot. Unc Sam, I appreciate you. What's up with the BNB memes? Honestly, I've not been looking at BNB memes. I've really been focusing, guys, on concentrated bets in those, my kind of the higher cap stuff. Really, like this is my portfolio right now. It's about 50 to 60% Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and stables. I have about Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, stables, and then like the AVAX and like the higher top 10 market cap stuff. And then really like the other largest chunk is about 25 to 30% right now in those movement memes, movement coins, barbell, movement coins, and then the revenue producing stuff like the pump funds, asters, hyper liquids. I think are going to have the biggest bounce back here. 25 to 30% is in that. And then I have the rest of the 10 to 15%. Actually, maybe it's closer to 20 between my perps account that I have on, the perps account, and then other more money I have set aside for lower cap stuff, which we're going to go over some lower cap coins in a second. If you guys want to see that, say lower cap in the chat. Let me know what some of the setups you guys have been looking at. I know there's been very few setups other than like Ketamine Horse, which is one that's been running, and a few others. But yeah. As far as BNB memes, I've been focusing heavily on accumulating those plays I have high conviction in, because when we do bounce up back here, I think those are going to run the most sustainably and the hardest. You don't need to overcomplicate shit right now, in my opinion. How do you feel about Gemini getting approved to launch their own prediction market? I think prediction markets are just going to become more popular. It's going to be another layer of the internet, right? Or another layer of crypto in the internet. Like it's just, there's going to be prediction markets everywhere. I think prediction markets are just, I think they're just bullish for crypto adoption. I think they're great. Now it's another setup. Let's get into it actually. Real quickly, he said, "Wow, you are optimistic. ETH will flip Bitcoin. Don't let Michael Saylor hear this." Hey, I think Michael Saylor, even in this scenario, I think in order for ETH to flip Bitcoin, we have to be just in a digital asset future where like everybody is using crypto technology, whether they know it or not, in the background. And in that world, I still think, and this sounds crazy too, I think in that world, Michael Saylor is still the richest man in the world. Like richest, okay, top five richest person in the world, and MicroStrategy is up there with Apple and the other ones. Again, when Bitcoin heads above $1 million, if and when it does that, is Tom Lee going to be richer? I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to accumulate as much ETH as Michael Saylor has Bitcoin because they've had so much time to do it. So to answer your question, that's honestly really funny that you said that. I think even if and when ETH does flip Bitcoin, I still think Michael Saylor is richest, or if not one of the richest men in the world, because Bitcoin's also going to be above $1 million at that point, I think. But let's get into it. Prediction markets. I think I'm extremely bullish on prediction markets. I think a lot of people in crypto choose to like really take pessimistic views on things, and they're either all for something or they're all against something. Right? The smartest people that I follow are very very optimistic, and they take, you know, bullish views on stuff most of the time, right? Not all the time, but like they're very optimistic, and they are able to see the future of stuff in optimistic futures and stuff. But then they're also able to see that most things are not black and white. Most things are and not or. So prediction markets are kind of like that for me. Like I think prediction markets are a great way to adopt people into to crypto. I think it's going to probably be already being a great way to people already getting into crypto, using crypto rails without even knowing it or even having to know it. It's onboarding a ton of people. I think it's a lot of fun. I think there's definitely ways to make money if you're selective. I think it's great. I'm rooting for prediction markets to expand, to grow. I definitely dabbled in some, a few, back more in 2024, and I've farmed maybe 200 or 300K of volume on here. So I don't know what that's going to be worth in an airdrop when they eventually do it. I may do some more farming in the future. So I'm bullish on prediction markets in general. At the same time, if you're using prediction markets, I think a lot of people right now, the whole meta and the whole talk around town is okay. Everybody should consider pivoting to prediction markets and or stocks. And while I think stocks are going to do well, I think prediction markets are great. Um, I think sticking around in crypto and doubling down and finding the great opportunities if you have dry powder is the way to go. But I don't think that pivoting from being a crypto investor, whether that be on chain crypto trader slash investor, whether it be on chain or buying and holding coins like we like to do, I just don't think pivoting to being a prediction markets trader is the equivalent or like really the move, and not what I would be doing particularly. I think prediction markets overall you can definitely find an edge in different ways versus just sports, which are like a binary thing, right? You can do research and different stuff, but overall, if we're talking generalities, I think most people are going to have gambling type results from prediction markets. Is it gambling? I don't know. Like there's a lot of people who have different terms, but I think if you're looking at straight results of how many people make money, how many people the return on investment, it looks pretty similar to average sports betting for most people, right? So I think prediction markets, just to kind of close out this fucking rant, I think prediction markets for me, and the way I always recommend every time that people talk to me or ask me about this, is prediction markets are fun. You should be bullish on them if you're a crypto person. Um, Dabble in them if they're fun. If you're already a sports better, maybe if the liquidity's there, use prediction markets, farm the airdrop. But at the same time, I would still recommend using the 5 to 10% of your portfolio to fuck around in prediction markets, instead of what a lot of people are doing is taking, maybe I'm just assuming for what I'm seeing, 50 to 85% of their portfolio and saying I'm a prediction markets guy now. I think you're way better off putting your money in accumulating. Again, you don't have to go way down the risk curve. Accumulating the category leaders, in the movement meme coins or the hyper liquids or like any of these coins, and then you are like trying to go full bore with prediction markets. That's just me. That's not to shit on anybody doing prediction markets. Again, I fuck with prediction markets. I like them. I use them a bit myself. If anybody's making money on there, like consistently. Like there's this guy here, Prediction Markets. What's his fucking name? I think Prediction Markets is in his game. Prediction Market Trader. I fuck with this guy. He's making really sick content. Um, I think this guy's gonna go crazy on TikTok if he's not already. If he's not already blown up already, making kind of cool clips
And they had started
live
the first,
streaming
like,
his
MLB prediction markets
prediction markets. I think this is fucking sick, right? And I'm not trying to shit on anybody who's trading them. I'm just being real. I think the average person, unless you're prediction market trader or you're just some fucking prediction market quant, I think you should put most of your portfolio in the stuff that has a great shot to go up here, and then try to become a fucking prediction market quant with that other 10 to 15% of the port. That's just me though. Uncle Sam, why are trades? Why do you think ETH flips Bitcoin? Because like I said on the earlier part of the stream, I don't know if you're on, everything like SEC Paul, the like SEC chair, for example, all these different people are saying all markets are going to go on chain. Most of that money is going to go on Ethereum, which is going to bid up the price of Ethereum over time higher than Bitcoin, I think. Again, it could take 3 to 5 to 10 years for all I fucking know. I don't know. Hayes, what's up, brother? ETH does have, yes, Ethereum is the ultimate utility coin. It literally is used in the protocol to transact. It's really, oh, Troll. I haven't talked about Troll. Troll is right up there with the coins that I've been accumulating a lot of too. Let's look at Troll. It's actually had a nice run earlier this week. What is it called? Dex screener. What is up with Zero, bro? Didn't they make another coin or something? I don't even know. What are we talking about? Fucking, I just troll. So Troll is in a beautiful setup. It's actually going. Fuck. Thank you. If you guys ever hear me talking to myself, I promise you, I'm not schizophrenic. I'm talking to my producer, my buddy. Can't Stop Me Now in the background, who sometimes reminds me to change my screen when I'm an idiot and forget. So here, 9 days of consolidation here for Troll. I mean, you could kind of count this as, you can kind of count this as a consolidation right here. But how about this? If somebody tells me what they see here other than a consolidation and why it is bullish on this right here, I'll go ahead and send somebody $25 USDC. If you guess it, just for fun. But I'm gonna give you guys like 10 seconds to like type it. If I see it in the chat after I'm done explaining it, I'll send somebody 25 USDC. Just want to see if anybody's fucking awake here. But all right, so another reason why this is bullish is USDC. I'm sorry, Troll. I forgot what coin I was on. Troll, I think, is forming something even better than a double bottom, and what I believe is an inverse head and shoulders. What usually most bottoms you're going to see form in one of a few ways. Either a double bottom, where you see price do this. Obviously, everybody knows what a double bottom is. Right? Everybody knows what a double bottom is, right? Price comes down, you go up, price comes back and retests that low, and then uses it as a base or a bottom. There's higher lows, which are like this. Price comes up, price comes down, but doesn't take out or test that other low and then goes up. You see it leaves this low untouched. And then you have a sweep where it does something like this, like we saw in April, where price goes up, comes down, sweeps the low, takes it out, but then just goes back up and uses it. You'll see those, or the strongest and the kind of the most obvious when you do see it is the inverse head and shoulders, where you get a shoulder, price comes down and makes a head, goes up, forms a second shoulder like you'd see here, but doesn't go out and take out that low. It's similar to a higher low, right? Where it'll do this and then just go up. I think that's what we're forming here. I think, like I said, ETH, Bitcoin are finishing up their corrections over the next few weeks. And I think when that happens, again, Bitcoin, ETH, if you want to see the longer explanation, I think ETH is going to take another shot to this low. I am short ETH right now. I think it's going to take another shot to this low. Maybe around 2,800 between here and 2,700. Could sweep it again, higher low, who knows? But somewhere between here and 2,700, I think it bottoms out and confirms a consolidation low or like a bigger double bottom before we move higher. into beginning of next year. In that world, I think Troll also does the same and probably holds above 25K, 25 mil before moving higher. Troll to me, I'm extremely bullish on. Fuck, I wasn't sharing my screen. Troll to me, I'm very bullish on for many reasons. One, it's a very strong movement. There's still people posting about it all the time. They have the Troll PFPs, still strong despite price being down about 90%, which is obviously a bullish sign. We have they now own the troll. The troll face is one of the most famous and most recognizable memes of all time, which helps when normies are eventually trading meme coins again. And then two, they own the IP. So we saw, what's it called? Who recently bought the IP of something? The fuck am I completely blanking out? Somebody recently bought the IP of something and then did something with it. I'm completely for blanking out. But essentially, them owning the IP can make them. They can have products and different stuff that drives attention to. Oh, GigaChad. GigaChad, obviously, they bought the IP around the GigaChad meme, and now they're using it, or they license it something, and they're using it on Walmart products for their fitness products. So, yeah, I really like Troll. I think it eventually makes a run back to all time highs. So that's almost a 10x, and again, it could take 3 to 6 months. Who knows? But I really like Troll's chances here. I think there's going to be three to 10, movement coins that move back above a billion. Troll only hit, you guys, it only had like 3 or 4 months before the market kind of rolled over. I could really see Troll make a really big comeback here. Let me go ahead and check the chat. Lower cap brands. Yeah, let's do that right now. In just a second. Full port unstable. Yeah, let me look at USDUC actually. USDUC is I talked about this the other day, like the divergence between overall mind share of USDUC. Maybe it's an echo chamber type thing for my timeline, and not even that. It's just I see it in the comments, like the amount of participation from the USDUC guys versus the market cap under 5 million. I think the gap between that is going to close when the market kind of recovers. So, price action, we have been holding this low for a month. I typically think the meme coins, the good ones, are going to do what Bitcoin does. So if it comes back a little lower, I typically think USDUC bounces here with Bitcoin in the next couple weeks, a couple months, like I was saying. And then we have to see if Bitcoin goes back to all-time highs. I expect USDUC to continue to climb and probably, go. I know it only ran to 70 mil, so to say a coin's going to go to a billion. But if there's any coin under 50 million right now that I could say would not shock me if it ran to a billion, it'd be USDUC. And I know that's crazy because it's like a 200x from here, but you just got to ask yourself, or just like think about how few people want to trade meme coins right now. Like even on crypto Twitter, it's like not the cool thing to talk about this shit at all right now. But I think the price and the low market cap is like kind of correlated to that right now. But we see meme coins are going to bounce back. I think USDUC very likely goes back to all-time highs. It's just like a 20x from there. So I'm slowly accumulating USDUC, and I like its chances. It's crazy. Last year, fear and greed was so damn high into greed, and it's 100% opposite today. Damn, we are coming up on like 800 fucking views on here in the last 54 minutes, which is really good for a Sunday stream. I appreciate everybody for hanging out on here. We're going to hang out for a bit longer, talk about some low cap setups. We did talk about Bitcoin and ETH Sol and how this slow chop down towards these 3-week lows historically points to a very high likelihood that we are going to get some kind of local bottom here in the next few weeks that leads to a bounce back above 100K. I think we probably get some type of resurgence for the meme coins and stuff temporarily. Altcoins might bounce. At that point, we kind of have to see what Bitcoin does as it approaches the 200 moving average. We talked a little bit about that. So go ahead and watch the stream back if you missed that. But we'll talk about some low cap setups right now. I'm using prediction markets for sure. Prediction markets is close to betting. It's different. It definitely has its nuances, like difference. But I think overall, if you're looking at results, most people who are prediction markets traders are going to have similar results to people who are traditional I say traditional gamblers. Set a budget for that is what I'm doing. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Hey Brent, what are your thoughts about the tokens of prediction markets? That's a great question. Miss D, shout out to you, Miss D. I hope you're doing well. I didn't stream the other day because again my Wi-Fi was cooked, and Miss D shot me a tweet and said where you're at. So I always appreciate Miss D. She's like probably been here for like entirety of my streaming. Rojam and Miss D are some dude. I gotta make you, if we ever get on Twitch, you guys are definitely gonna be mods whenever I get Twitch or Kick, or maybe if Twitter implements some type of mods or something eventually. But what do I think about? I haven't really looked into Polycool. I have some friends who use it, but all overall, I think if markets are strong, prediction markets are strong, there's going to be a narrative for some of these tools, which I assume Polycool is a tool attached to prediction markets. I'm pretty sure. So Polycool, is this it? Okay, so yeah, this is down pretty bad, but so is everything, right? I will say, Miss D, this price action, and you might even be able to tell me what I'm going to say before I say it. Uh, Even though it didn't consolidate for a long time, it's very impulsive price action. So it's down about 95%, not many bounces. I mean, technically, you can do this. You want to make it if you do believe it's a corrective structure, to where if it is able to consolidate, kind of like it did here, where it's able to hold this low for a couple weeks, maybe does something like this, then moves up. At that point, that's a very good sign that we're going to keep pushing. But yeah, if it's able to form this consolidation for a couple weeks like we did here and here, I think it could push up. And even though this is down 95% and the price action doesn't look great, I think what we're going to end up seeing is if and when the markets bounce back in the coming months, I wouldn't be surprised to see this bounce back as well, especially since prediction markets are doing so well. But generally, to answer your question, we're probably going to see the tools attached to the prediction markets probably do well. Are you a day trader / scalper, or do you mainly swing trade, and how did you get to your capital? Great question. Let me take a sip of water. I'm going to turn my mic away so I don't do some ASMR shit. But yeah, before I get into that, if you guys let me know in the chat if you're just pulling up what if you're first time or been here for a while, and then what country you're tuning in from. But P Swish asks, are you a day trader / scalper, or do you mainly swing trade? And how did you get your capital? So that's a pretty layered question. So are you a day trader / scalper? So for the most part, right? I I'm I dabble in a few different areas, right? But overall, most of my portfolio, and again, it just kind of goes down to most people are a little bit of both, right? I think most people should be a little bit of both, especially in these days. There's nothing wrong with just being a straight investor where you're just DCAing into Bitcoin, ETH, whatever. If you don't want to trade and you don't have time and you'd rather just take a longer term time horizon. But I think I would consider myself maybe not a scalper or a day trader for the most part, because I very rarely am in a position and out that same day. But I do both of investing and trading. I think most of my portfolio, and this is always what you know, I recommend, or just I think is the smartest way of going about things, is having most of your portfolio in the investor bucket. 50, 60, 70% of your portfolio at all times might be 40 to 70%, depending on the market. 40 to 70% of your portfolio in the the alts. I'm sorry, in the ESOL bitcoins and stables. That way, you're building your base of investor assets to where those are the things we know have a very, very high likelihood of going up, while also using, maybe for me, 20 to 30% of your portfolio in stuff that is definitely not in the top 10. It might be 50, 100 mil, 200, 300, 400 million, a billion, 500 million, whatever it may be, that has some upside more than the whatever, but is still category leaders, or still coins that are pretty solidified, have already ran out of these corrections before. 20 to 30% of your portfolio in that, while taking profits from those coins, partial profits, back into that investor bucket, the Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol, kind of really making a goal to acquire more of the Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, and stables with the other stuff, right? And then also the other coins, the USDUCs, ticker Bitcoins, the MOGs. Also, I'm holding a position part of those for longer term as well, because they've kind of proven that they can kind of survive these corrections. So it's kind of multifaceted. Most of my portfolio at all times is in that investor bucket. I'm here for the long term. I'm setting my portfolio up for success in that way, while still taking a large 20 to 30% chunk of my port to play in this stuff. Not really play, but take positions, and positions I'm gonna be holding for weeks, months, as prices move back up. And then I'll take 5 to 10%, 15% of my portfolio for perps, prediction markets, stuff like that. So to answer your question, I'm most of my portfolio is in that investor. I'm definitely an investor mindset of I'm a buy and hold person. Same way if I am with NFTs and collecting that way, I'm more buy and hold for the long term while taking profits on the way up. If you're catching a common theme here, the most successful people are people who take more hybrid approaches to things. I've found in crypto. So I'm definitely more leaning towards an investor, a buy and hold. I'm a swing trader. I like to hold coins, buy coins during these corrections, hold for weeks or months, take massive profits on the way up as everybody else is getting hyped up on them, rinse and repeat. So mostly an investor, but I do dabble in some other stuff. And then perps, you may consider that day trading stuff, but again, I'm swing trading the perps too. I'm not really in and out. ETH has a real world use, yeah. It's going up after consolidation, yeah. Yeah, I can look at ENA for you real quickly. Oh, I need to look at those lower time frame setups. I keep forgetting. Athena. I'll look at Athena in a second, actually. So there's a few lower time frame setups that I think are, if Bitcoin is able to get this bounce here, is actually setting up nicely for potential setups. One of them is Ketamine Horse. Ketamine Horse made a really nice run. My buddy, well, my buddy here, who I've just gotten to know a bit here recently, Donnie Dicey. Everybody go and follow him. Gave me a heads up about this one at around 2 million. So bought some of that, and then it obviously ran all the way to 11. So obviously pulling back hard with kind of the rest of the market. But I would keep my eye on this. I think it potentially, especially if it's able to bounce and kind of confirm some corrective behavior here, could be a nice setup for a bounce back above 10 million. So I'm kind of keeping my eye on this. Been kind of accumulating a little bit. I took a little bit off at a 5x back at around 9 or 10 million, but I am probably going to add some back here. I think this potentially, once Bitcoin again kind of times it right with Bitcoin, maybe something like this, I think could run it back. So flying ketamine horse is definitely one to keep an eye on. Again, these ones are not as surefire as like an SPX, Gigamog, ticker Bitcoins that I think are very likely going to bounce back. But I think there's very good signs with the people talking about these coins, with the charts and all that, there's a good shot they bounce back here with Bitcoin. Another one is White Whale. Obviously took a bit of a hit when Bitcoin and ETH came down hard, back below 2.5. So obviously you had this markup here, came back down a little bit lower, but is now sitting back above there. White Whale, I talked about how White Whale a couple of days ago, is White Whale is one of the few people who are actually directly aligned with the meme coin, right? He's directly aligned with crypto Twitter. People actually kind of really fuck with him and see him as like a genuine trader. Obviously, he lost a lot of money in Hyperliquid, but you have to be a successful trader to even have that much money to lose in the first place. This guy's obviously pretty well respected. He commands attention. And he's actually embracing the meme coin. He's already done some kind of giveaways of not giveaways, but gave back some soul back to the creator fees back to the biggest holders, stuff like that. And that's why we've seen it outperform. So I have been buying White Whale here. I wish I would have bought more down here. I was, like I said, pretty sick the last few days and doing some other shit. But I probably am going to accumulate a little bit more White Whale here too. Even on the lower time frames, it's looking pretty fucking nice here, guys. So God damn it, I was just informed that I wasn't fucking sharing my screen. Oh, okay, I'm tweaking. All right, coming back, but yeah, lower time frames. I think White Whale is even showing higher. showing strength. I think it's very likely the bottom here for white whale under a million, and I think it could very likely run it back to 10 here. So do with that as what you will. I think white whale is I think it's looking nice. I think he's also potentially, I think they were talking about maybe a way of him getting on with thread guy. I don't, those kind of things really kind of lead like local tops anyway. But maybe if that were to happen, we could get a that could push it up. But it's probably best that that doesn't happen, to be honest. Um, Even though that'd be cool to see. I want to see him on thread guy. That'd be pretty sick. But so basically, sell ETH for now. No, that is not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm doing. I can't tell you, not financial advice, blah blah blah, whatever. But I can just tell you what I'm doing, and is not selling ETH. I'm short ETH because I play with perps, and I'm just a fucking degenerate who likes to. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm pretty. I think we're pretty have a pretty calculated way of trading the perps, but like even this perps are still risky, whatever. I think I'm short right now, meaning I think we're going to go down in the short term, but I'm positioned with the spot and my everything else accumulating spot to where even if I was wrong and Bitcoin goes straight back to, or ETH goes straight back to all time highs from here, I'm already positioned. But I'm just using perpetual, inverse perps to short ETH here. I have a short here at about 3,300. Um, about 3290 is my average entry. I think it pushes back down into the under the 3000s here soon. Yeah, they have festival too. Okay. Yo, what's good, Squeeze? How you doing? What are my thoughts on Nubcat? It's close to 2 years old and got a 134K buy today. Wow. I will say Nubcat is a perfect example of a coin that can go down 98% and then bounce back pretty crazy. Wow, Miss D. Look at this fucking set. Damn it. Closed out. Give me 1 second. Miss D though, this setup is fucking beautiful. Uh so overall, like this is a coin that was down 98% to the untrained eye, or just like you might see this like kind of big run here, might think it's bundled and then it's been down only ever since. But this just goes to show that assets can go down for a couple years, but if the fundamentals, the community and stuff are still there, they can just bounce back and really go on a crazy run. We saw Nubcat top out in April 2024 at 189 million, came all the way back down to 100 and pretty much 190, pretty much 99%, guys, from all time highs. I believe that's what that is, right? Yeah, 99% from all time highs. Um, but what do we see here? Double bottom consolidated for a couple months and then ran it all the way back to 20, 30x. Now it's back down. But the reason why I was kind of freaking out there a second ago is because this beautiful corrective setup, I think I had, damn it, I think I had this, my bad, let me bring it back up. I think I had this corrective channel drawn, Misty, must have been months ago, like down here, and it's respected it right in there for a minute. And what do we see here? It's pumping back above. I think, again, market coins like this with great setups, when the market recovers here with Bitcoin, I think you're going to run. So does Nubcat run back to all-time highs or back above this high here? I think there's a good chance. I might buy some Nubcat here after this stream. This actually looks good. Chart setup. This is just a beautiful corrective channel. Respecting back above this low here. If it doesn't take it out, I wouldn't be surprised to see it running back to 75, 100. W Sunday, Henry. Thanks for being here, man. For sure, Henry. Yeah, no, I remember you reached out to me too, Henry. Definitely already have you written down as well for a mod. I need that video. Lucky, I'll get that to you today too, brother. I've been sick the last few days, but I'll get you the videos. W stream close to 1,000. Yeah, shout out to you guys. Almost 1,000 viewers. Obviously, views, not viewers, whatever. But the fact that on a Sunday, after we haven't normally streamed on Sundays, that there's this many homies hanging out with us, always appreciated. But again, let me know what you guys are thinking. Are you feeling all right? Again, I'm the only reason one of the reasons I'm able to stay so optimistic and maybe seem like I'm not so bothered by these times and continue to stay bullish, other than just looking at these fundamentals outside of price action, is I've lived through these different corrections. Like if this is your first correction and you see nothing but doom and gloom for the last year, you don't see any example of times getting better after this doom and gloom, of course you're going to think it's all doom and gloom. It's like a fucking kid who grew up, 2 to 3 years old in a hard environment of just like, you know, tragedy, and that's all they know, right? It's like, how are you going to know any other way otherwise? Um, damn, I'm cooking here. No, hey, how are you gonna know any otherwise? But I think living through these different corrections where I've seen 2017, 2018, but saw 20, I experienced 2020 bounce back. I saw the depths of 2022 where FTX just got absolutely annihilated. It annihilated the mind share and the respectability. What? No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. It annihilated like the respectability of crypto. Everybody thought crypto was okay. It's going to be in a bear market for fucking 10 years now. The SEC just started growing after people like crazy. Um, what's it called? What the fuck was I saying? That threw me off. My bad. My producer was just telling me something. I lost my train of thought, but it's all good. The fuck was I saying? God damn it. Yeah, how would you know otherwise? Anyways, the reason I'm able to stay so optimistic and be so numb to this shit is I saw all the worst things, shit that's way worse than what we're seeing now for crypto, and then saw optimism on the other side. So if this is your first bear market, dude, I feel you. Like, of course you're gonna think everything's fucking shit, but I'm telling you, there's gonna not there's always sunshine on the other side, but especially now it's like real adoption. Like people are actually using prediction markets. They're actually like the biggest financial institutions in the world. They're talking about getting digital wallets in the hands of everybody. I think it's like the perfect. I call it like the perfect sweet spot where prices are down, sentiments down, but we're like obviously in the precipice of like crypto being adopted, at least stable coins, at least real world assets, and probably NFTs and all these different things over a long enough time horizon. I think all those things, that's what we're leading towards. But prices are still down. People still see it as shit. I think right now, if you have dry powder or even just don't have money, but you're just paying attention, like it's just so fucking obvious, dude, what comes in the next few years, in my opinion. Market sentiment's still very low. Yeah, I think that's normally what we see during bottoms. YouTube now allows US creators to receive payouts in stablecoins. Yes, exactly. Another example of adoption. Do you see this having any impact on CCM when the market picks up? You talk quite a yes. So good question, Miss D. I think CCM is I think Pump Fun and the CCM streaming and all that stuff is just they're another victim of the conditions. Nothing is going to do well from here, guys. Nothing, no sector is going to do well during a time where Bitcoin's in a massive correction, especially the new shit like streaming coins. Of course, nothing. Of course, the fucking streaming trenches are going to be shit right now. Like, but we zoom out and we look at the fundamentals. I think the token streaming with I don't know if you guys are paying attention to streaming, how bots are becoming a major thing recently. A lot of people are starting to kind of realize that maybe a lot of the streaming numbers that people are seeing, the 10, 20, 30, 50 viewers, 50K viewers on a lot of these streams might not be so accurate. There might not be real people, a lot of them. Who knows? Does that eventually lead to like a whole new model of streaming where tokens are the thing? It's possible, but I think what's going to happen in the next 6 months, if I had to guess, is that when market conditions recover, that pump fund is going to get. I don't know if you guys are paying attention. Actually, shout out to Jazz, by the way. I know some of you guys in here probably know Jazz. Um, it seems like Jazz, like the Bagwork guys, are kind of like pump funds fucking really are supporting this guy heavily and rightfully so. He's a very charismatic, and I think he's 18, which is crazy. Um, super like charismatic, funny dude. Makes probably the best like top three, top five, like actual good content where he makes good like cinematic videos and vlogs and shit that he does with his friends. Um, he has yesterday and today he's actually doing a stream with Clavicular, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know Clavicular. Is this AI? Can't stop me now. It has to be, right? That looks crazy. Is that AI? It is, right? There's no way he took a picture with them already. 'Cause don't their faces look a little off? I don't know. Somebody tell me this is AI in the chat. If it is, like, dude, this is fucking crazy. It's a nano banana now or whatever. You can just put your models in there, and it's like looks like it's actually you. I don't know. These girls look kind of AI to you. I don't know. I'm tripping out. I'm tripping, but Anyway, what I was gonna say is clavicular. I don't. I'm assuming. I could be totally wrong, but I'm assuming Pump Fun are probably pitching, throwing clavicular like 50 G's or something to do the stream with Jazz and to do the stream with Rasmer. Rasmer did a one-on-one stream with clavicular. Clavicular, for those of you guys don't know, is probably like the most viral person on TikTok right now. He does stuff in the looks maxing, which is essentially where people are trying to optimize their looks, and kind of belief in that and all that stuff. And he's kind of really going viral right now. We're seeing Rasmer, we're seeing Jazz get doing streams with these big characters, so that when market conditions are good, I think we're gonna get it. Maybe not a clavicular, but somebody at that level launching on Pump, which I think has the high likelihood of launching some type of mania where these CCM coins go crazy. And in that world, I really like the coins like Bun Coin, which we talked a lot about. Friend of the stream, Bun. Um, Friend of the stream, Bun. We had him on. This guy's a fucking grinder. He's been 24 hours on Pump almost every day for the last 2 or 3 months. He's doing cool shit like hosting what's it called? League of Legends tournaments to kind of onboard people. I think people like him who have been grinding this entire time are going to do well, but we're probably going to get 100 different launches, kind of like we saw like 3 or 4 months ago. But I think maybe more of a sustainable run for CCM. And then long term, I like this guy Jonah. This guy Jonah. I almost called him Jonah Hill. I'm stupid. Jonah Blake talks about how potentially CCM might be what institutions and others use as like that another game like they use with meme coin, like people use with meme coins to speculate, where it's kind of might be like the last way for people to get crazy out outpaced 100x gains, 15, 20, 30x gains, once kind of meme coins have been solved. But yeah, Jonah's a good guy too. Go ahead and check out his page. Shout out to everybody who's commenting and everything on here. I'm gonna go ahead and there's 60 people have commented on here. Uh, but uh, but yeah, shout out to Boss Man for commenting on the stream. Everybody already, obviously, if you, I'm sure most 90% of you guys are already ready. But shout out to fucking Boss Man, my business partner, homie. Go and shoot him a follow if you somehow already are already. Him and I obviously run the Telegram channel together, own the Telegram channel together. Boss Man calls. Him and I have been working together since about this time 2 years ago. The channel went from about 300 members when I joined up with Boss back again in November of 2023, up to 40,000 members from all over the world. It's been an incredible blessing to talk and post in that channel pretty much every single day for the last 2 years, meeting people from all over the world. You know, the opportunities and the network and the people I've been able to meet from Telegram is just an absolute blessing. So shout out to every single one of you who's in there already. If you're not already, definitely get in there. Lots of great meme coin stuff. My longer form, in depth kind of trade ideas where I kind of go really in depth in why I'm seeing the market the way I do. Good trade calls, ideas. Boss Man post some great stuff in there too. Giveaways sometimes. All that good stuff. Definitely check us out if you haven't already. Oh, fuck. 1 second, guys. But what are we on? About a minute 19. We'll probably stay on for about 20 more minutes before we log off. You sure you good, bro? You've been going blank every once in a while. Yeah, no, I'm just looking at stuff. Looking at yeah, no, I'm good. To be honest though, that I'm actually pretty tired. Like I said, I've been feeling a little bit under the weather, so my quality of sleep the last few days has been pretty shit. So that might be why I'm losing my train of thought a bit more. Please, I need the giveaway. The main thing is we wish you good health and take care of yourself. Thanks, brother. I've actually been really optimizing for my health this year, which is good because on the last run up, I kind of did the opposite. I kind of, on the run up here in 2024, where, like here when we ran up, the channel went crazy. Like I said, from like 300 members to whatever. I was focused solely on the channel. Really didn't go to the gym much. Whatever. Kind of gained some weight and stuff. But the last year or so, really been optimizing for the health, really preparing for this next bull leg because I don't know. I think everybody should have their health optimized and all that stuff before the good periods, because when everything's running and there's fucking 100 runners a day and different shit to talk about like going on, then it's kind of it's harder to focus on the health. So, but I appreciate the comment. Let's go ahead and check out the timeline, review some stuff, guys, here for a bit. Again, the market's slow as it should be. It's a bullish it's a bullish thing in disguise. Like, trust me, I do not like this slow behavior. Like, if it was up to me, we would just bottom out right now. But if we just look at these past charts, it's just almost always this is what we see at the bottoms. This is what we want to see. You want to see consolidation, a hit to the low, multiple weeks of consolidation, some slowdown. Price, is able to slow down, chop sideways in order for a reversal or a reversal or a change of direction to happen. Right. So while this time is extremely fucking boring, um, this is what we want to see. This is what we've seen at the end of every correction since the last few years. And this is the type of stuff where is repeatable. Charts do repeat themselves and leave patterns. But the problem is that most people are looking at the wrong things, guys. They're looking at, oh, we're bouncing off the 87.867 Fibonacci. Like, and again, I'm not trying to shit on anybody using fibs. Like, they're definitely, people find success with them in combination with other things. But if we're talking about stuff that actually repeats and we're able to see, okay, this has happened here, 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 it's on the higher time frames and stuff like consolidations. But again, the biggest problem is most people are zoomed in on the 15-minute chart and they're looking at this and trying to think, like, what is this going to tell you? The actual repeatable stuff, the nuggets, the stuff you're actually going to be able to glean from is on the higher time frames. Nobody's looking at that. Also, one more thing, use the logarithmic chart. I'm probably 9 out of 10 people probably use this other chart. And what this chart does is this chart makes these corrections look way worse than they are. Really, among other things. So I highly recommend, if you're looking at the higher time frames, use the log. Let's go ahead and review some stuff. Anything going on? Shout out to Godric. He's a definitely underrated account, like under 10K. My bad. Godric, shout out to him. Shout out to Donnie Dicey, Ashen. Why do I get this notification once a week? I do get that notification too.
Believe prediction markets are the new trenches, you said.
100%. Like 1,000%.
Do you think
Like,
prediction markets are a better game than the trenches?
Nah, trenches are much more fun. Like the pump fun streams where like shit is happening, that's fun as fuck.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I love this more, but
It's like faster
prediction
pace.
yeah. It's much more faster, but the edge on polymarket is much more like higher. Like you can you have more time and the stakes are less because you can't like bet on 1 cent and win like.
Yeah, I think they're just different games. I would still think that I would still model them similar that I would with gambling. And again, I'm not going to say any other names, but like the biggest names that are promoting promoting prediction markets right now, a lot of them are at like break even P&Ls. And they're at like, I've seen somebody, and I'm not going to say names. I like everybody who's doing it. I think there's a, prediction markets are great. And I think people should have a right to promote them and never want to shit on anybody for promoting things. Cause I don't think poly market's all bad, but like I saw like probably one of the biggest poly market promoters, the person's down like 25K on poly market, and it's like a common thing. And why should we expect any different? That's what betting and gambling is. Most people on betting and sports betting are down fucking 20K, that $200 this month. Very few people are winners over time, and that's fine because most people are just subsidized that it's fun. They just like to do it. But yeah, I think I would just be very careful and understand that a lot of these guys who are promoting it are getting big deals, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not shitting on anybody. That doesn't mean they're nefarious, but you have to ask yourself, am I entering this prediction markets because I think I have a edge and I'm going to go all in on poly market because I have an edge? Or am I being or somebody influencing me in the fact that like somebody else is doing it? You got to ask yourself, get into these situations, because I think a lot of people are going to make the mistake of going all in on Polymarket, selling their entire crypto portfolio. And a lot of people are going to see the results of an average gambler when they could just be buying and holding coins right now and give themselves a way higher chance of success.
Life was not learning to cook well. I can cook like 2 or 3 things, like eggs, chicken, and steak. That might be it. The fact that the one thing that makes you happy, the one thing, that raises your longevity, keeps you, healthiest, raises your quality of life infinitely, is the one thing that so many people don't know how to do and don't even try. If you can cook and you can make...
Let me know in the chat, can you guys cook? Over the years, I've definitely learned to cook more shit, but I think nowadays, it's so... Unless there's definitely hard techniques of like fucking doing certain stuff that's harder, but nowadays on the internet, I think it's pretty easy to learn. You can just follow directions. Obviously, some people are better than others. It's funny. Yeah, that's true. A lot of times I lost the most money usually after I made the most money. Vice versa, though. I feel like I made the most money after the time, and not where I lost the most money, but the times where it seemed like the hardest and the most boring and shit.
Yeah, we now own a bunch of Ethereum. We own billions of dollars worth. Yeah, we do have $1 billion in cash. And we also now are going to be printing $1 million a day in net income as a result of this custom staking solution that we have. Never mind the fact that Ethereum's down 50%, that our stock's down 50% in the past 6 months. Never mind that, had I just held on to cash, it would have been way more effective rather than buying Ethereum at the top. But yeah, we're never going to sell our Ethereum other than the $1 million a day that we're going to be yielding. In that case, yeah, we're definitely going to dump the hell out of that so that we can get some of that cash back, because it's actually outperforming Ethereum right now. Tom Lee, you need to wipe that fucking smirk off your face, dude. I cannot believe this is the same guy that went on CNBC and was trying to say that Bitcoin's going to be at 200,000 by the end of the year, and still had the balls to claim that it's going to continue to pump at least 150K by the end of the year as of a week ago. This guy is completely full of it. Anyone listening to him, you are going to lose money. This guy is a scam artist. I don't understand why the hell CNBC continue to have this guy. The absolute smug look on his face. Someone needs to,
Choose Nick is funny. I sometimes with these videos, obviously he does a lot of satire with the girls and the different shit. He's been going crazy with that. But with these videos, I wonder if a lot of it's satire, if he really believes that shit's funny too. I don't know.
There is going to be a new era of multi-millionaires to come out of trading prediction markets, similar to how we saw the Solana meme coin trenches, and a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, that's gambling. Well, people say that trading is gambling. People said that Solana meme coins were gambling, but people were making a shit ton of money being able to find a way to have somewhat of a strategy or an edge within these new emerging markets. Think about Pump Fund. I see Polymarket and Pump Fund as just a direct correlation. When Pump Fund came out, it was treated like a casino. Polymarket came out, there's a whole bunch of volume coming onto the platform. It's treated like a casino right now, and people are pretty much just placing bets, and they're we'll see if this hits. But there are a specific amount of people that are actually seeing that there's a way to find an edge within these markets.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. I don't know. Is there a way to find edge? I think on certain bets for certain people, but it's interesting. Fucking Scuba Steve. Lol. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw to Alon. There was like rumor that he died, but I think it was just quick rumor. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna do the giveaway from the. Appreciate everybody following today as well. New followers. We do these streams again Tuesdays and Fridays for the most part. Been had some Wi-Fi issues, and then it's been but yeah, so Tuesdays and Fridays normally, so we'll be back again on Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. PST. Gonna have some cool guests. Gonna continue to do these streams no matter the market conditions. Like I said, I think there's a lot of signs pointing to the price action finally aligning with the macro stuff. So macro and everything else going on. Let me look at the chat. I appreciate it, Misty. Why are they trying to glamorize it? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, and there's a lot of nuances, but I think overall, you look at the average results. Most people will get the results of the average kind of gambling. But yeah, with that, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and sign off. I hope everybody has a great rest of your Sunday. Again, we'll be back on Tuesday. Hang in there. I hope everybody's doing well during this time, and I think the best yet to come, like I always say. So I appreciate you. See you guys on Tuesday, 11:30 a.m. Peace.